around on the Pyke, and Morgana allows a support to roam. So will it in fact be the roaming story? Wait for 20 seconds to get the confirmation.
Yeah, I find this really, really cute. Out of Kingzone, I almost would have liked to have a Rise on the bottom side of the map and negate the LeBlanc matchup in the mid lane. And to bring it out now against DAMWON Gaming in game number 2, it's a really cute draft from Kingzone.
I have a little bit of jitters, so I'm like, oh, that was just so smart.
Yeah.
So next level.
And we were talking about, like, between the series, we were talking about DAMWON's draft and their last pick on the red side. We're like, oh, but what do you do instead of the Corki? Well, the Pyke last pick was a beautiful one. And now we are going to be getting into it. Game number 2, DAMWON. Can they bounce back against Kingzone? Let's find out. Kingzone fans definitely in full voice as Tusin's wandering over a ward here.
Didn't start sweeper, so won't be able to sweep that one out just yet.
Gone for the coin as well, which is an interesting choice.
Gold generation. Now, we're going to see Frostmancy, most likely, you would think.
You'd expect so. Deft has the teleport, might go back and grab himself his Frost Fang early on.
And this is actually, you know, we were joking about the BBQ Oliver's inspiration with the Thomas Kent jungle. But actually, there is Frostmancy most certainly going to happen here, right? There's no reason not to. We do heavily expect there to be Frostmancy. Now, that might actually keep Tusin bot lane more than the roaming strategies we saw from Effort when he played with Bang's bot lane Morgana. But whether it's Frostmancy or the roam opportunities, that's what we'll wait and see. Tusin has gone Predator onto Pyke. Now, Pyke is a bit of a Predator at all points, given his penchant for reset ults, but interesting choice of Keystone there. Now, Dark Harvest is probably what you would see in solo queue, but not as
Electrocute as well.
Electrocute makes some sense, but don't know if you can proc it off cooldown necessarily.
Oh, but normally it's Aftershock, right?
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't know. I haven't seen a Pyke without Aftershock for a very long time.
Normally in the mid lane is when you see it the most, but given that he's going to get more gold than usual, goes into first the domination tree first, and then the Predator, and like you mentioned, gives up even potentially Aftershock as a rune. Bit of hope comes on to nuclear. The reason why this is cool is it's better when you have more gold, and we're thinking this is going to be a pretty farmed Tusin.
Yeah, so at the moment, it's Deft farming this one out. Puddles go down over and over again, gets that wave shoved, but we expect that Tusin is going to be able to hit the farming after Deft grabs his first Frostfang.
And this is one of those games where, because, you know, as analysts, as casters, we see so many drafts, you look at Kingzone and you get to that, that's smart, and this is even smarter. Like, you're really building out Kingzone, because there's so many things here you like. Rascal hits one item, he can actually have some kill threat onto a Jace. With the changes to the Shroud that came in the previous patch, you can just leave once, go back in, and then no auto attacks for a long time because of the extended duration of the Shroud. So decent early and evolves into a scaling matchup for Akali. Rise versus LeBlanc's actually a pretty good famous Aftershock Rise matchup where you do very well. Tusin can roam because of Morgana bot lane. So already you're like, the viewers listen, they're like, that's a lot of goods on the side of Kingzone. And it could really come together. They've done a lot of creative stuff. But that's not to mean that DAMWON don't have tools they can use to win this game. But to me, it's more execution heavy. We feel like the draft leads have kind of been creatively found by Kingzone. DAMWON still have power, but they need to look at quite a lot on the enemy side and make it all come together.
Well, speaking of quite a lot, fair bit of damage there onto Beryl on the bottom side of the map. Eats some grey health to keep himself guaranteed alive. And has the Guardian to help out in this 2v2. We've seen it already have a bit of value as the puddles have been quite frustrating. As far as farm is concerned, it's Rascal getting a bit smashed here at the beginning of this game. Noguri not going towards the Kleptomancy this time, wants to have the Airy for some extra aggression.
Small final point on Kingzone was the point I was going to make about BBQ. BBQ are one of the only teams in Korea willing to play Frostmancy. The only other one is Kingzone. They played Victor with Frostmancy recently.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a strategy that's underappreciated around the world, and I love seeing Kingzone return to it, but very hard to pull this off with level 4 on Rascal.
No, he's going to be able to land all of his spells, but
we saw
be aggressive.
Griffin versus Kingzone Game 1, even though bot lane got no ganks at all, with a Frostmancy involvement, it took around 6 minutes to actually fully stack the upgraded gold items. You start Doran's. On the first back, you pick up the Frostfang. By 10 minutes, after a 4-minute purchase of that support item, it was already quest done, and they were around 1,000 gold as a duo lane ahead with no jungle involvement. So they're just finding more gold that the enemy couldn't get access to. I think it's a strategy that more teams around the world need to consider, because bot lane AP going into Frostmancy is a cool strat.
Yeah, it is a really cool strat. And Deft was actually able to get it back to farm parity with Viper, I believe, in the series that he did it on his Victor very, very quickly, which just meant that he had so much more money.
Yep.
Just crazy. It was very, very effective. Speaking of being effective, Nogari's having a great time here underneath this turret canyon. Paying a lot of attention up here, but now back's going to come in relatively easily unless Nogari's going to stop it with a shock blast. Rascal should be able to get some items. Cloth armor does come in, teleports back in with a refillable potion as well. So not going to lose any turret plates just yet. Just a bit of health bar.
Even though Akali can weather the storm's still there. The storm can't be cancelled. We're not getting a weather change. It's still Nogari Jace. He's still very strong on this Jace. So Hex Drinker already the first investment. That is a little bit of a nice moment, because of course you don't have the dirt really doing a number on your health bar. We get the TP down. Notice Frostmancy is being skipped over, so it's a little bit more towards the Bang side of the coin of going for Lost Chapter, having more laning stats, and that to us suggests maybe Pyke starts roaming.
Yeah, and you can see Def just wants to keep more control in that lane, because the investment of the Frostbang is not exactly a statistics investment. Bone Skewer lands, bottom side of the map, doesn't get a stun as he launches his way out.
Whichever side we saw, Frostmancy or just going full AP, there was going to be a lot of benefit to Def picking up this Morgana. But in the late game, it means they don't have a ranged AD carry. And that's something that needs to be considered. There isn't the same guarantee that the game reaches a gold point and then Kingzone's comp is better. We like some of their side lane matchups. They have some cute synergies. This comp can still fall apart.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that it does need to have a mid-game that works out very well. And thankfully for Kingzone, speaking of mid-game, the first Drake is going to be the Infernal that has spawned. So being able to start skirmishes early on is going to help Kingzone out, because that's where their composition does do a lot of really good things.
It is a comment on Deft as well, as you mentioned. So more laning trades rather than, say, going into the slowing items and the Glacier Augment Morgana we usually see in mid.
Yep. Now, could have almost been a kill there down towards the bottom side of the map. I don't think Tusim was expecting Deft to land the binding. Kuz is coming down, but Nuclear is going to throw out the Hawk Shot. Spots him, and Jarvan is now visible on the map here for DAMWON. Another Bone Skewer comes in as Nuclear does have to get bound as Deft finds the binding on the Tahm Kench, and that is exactly how you're supposed to play out these trades on Kingzone's side.
Everything going to plan around the Rift. Nice CS lead for Jace in the early parts of the matchup. The only black mark for Kingzone to have to weather through. Infernal control will be higher with a Morgana. She comes online and she, without items, will perform better than an Ashe, right? Because AD carries need items, levels, everything to come together in order to get things going. So that means that Kingzone should have some flexible options, and they definitely won't be leaving Infernal as a freebie to DAMWON game.
Absolutely not. Getting some roaming on here as the Ryze and Jarvan. Definitely a good ganking duo, as now Showmaker is moving in the right direction, but doesn't know that there's a Pyke here. He's going to turn up, Distortion going to come in, Mimic going to come out as well. That will save Showmaker for now.
No Predator investor didn't want to be conspicuous in his entrance to the mid lane. We talked about that potential to move towards the Infernal. Deft, with a bit of solo experience, now has a team fight already with level 6. With that control, no leash onto Infernal just yet.
Yeah. And Tusim did use that Predator, I believe, to make his way back down towards this bottom side. Wants to be able to get his ultimate online. Still hasn't hit level 6 just yet. But a Bone Skewer finds it onto the Tahm Kench as another binding does come in. Realm Warp now to come from Pawn as well. Is not going to get that chain, but that's first blood to the Ryze. And that is going to put fear in the hearts of DAMWON, because now Pawn is set to carry.
Beryl uses Cleanse late, but still can't press the great health there. No shield activated, so goes down. And we saw the preparation for the Drake and the early level 6 on Deft. We get the other side of the coin, and that will mean first Infernal, Kingzone DragonX.
Yep, Canyon to see whether he can actually go for some sort of steal. He does dive forward, but that's just going to be him dead, most likely. No, just going to be a whole bunch of summoner spells utilized, and does make his way out. Lee Sin pretty good at escaping those sticky situations, but he was lucky that time.
Let's watch for the timing here, because it felt like Beryl should be able to use his E. Obviously, as things break out, you're not going to be using Cleanse. He uses Cleanse to get the flash away from the binding there. Watch for the stun. The CC bar will show up above the Texan. Yes, was stunned.
Yep.
So the cleanse timing there, it's always tricky because Morgana has that ultimate right to follow up. But the follow-up, enough to take down the target.
And the instant follow flash from Deft as well. You knew that he definitely wanted to make sure that those Soul Shackles were going to register. And it's actually perfect from Kingzone as well, because it shows that they know exactly what this composition is supposed to do. It's supposed to take control around this stage of the game.
And Pyke's got his boots for roaming, and his Morgana bot lane that needs no help. It takes so many resources to go build through the stopwatch, which is now online. Notice 10 minutes. Pyke can go wherever he wants. He's going mid.
Yep. Gonna get under the ground, I guess. I mean, it's supposed to be under the water, but looking for Showmaker. Showmaker not going to overstep or anything like that. Pretty difficult to gank a LeBlanc, and Kingzone certainly know that. This Pawn is pretty good at escaping from her clutches. Deft goes back, and still no Frostmancy here. He's got Boots of Lucidity now.
You're definitely not buying it anymore. It was very much first item into the Frostmancy, and that means that Pyke and Morgana have a lot of gold. Or you go Lost Chapter, and you say, well, what about that bad matchup top lane? I'm going to bring Tucson and friends to try to fight it.
Well, Tucson could be in trouble here as he has to use the flash. Doesn't get any stuns here as Cuz is now taking a lot of damage. Pawn makes his way up, and that was just a Pyke having to use a whole bunch of summoner spells.
The winner, theoretically, with not going Frostmancy is top lane, because you can just roam through the lane as Tucson multiple times to try to help out a matchup that you need time in as the Akali. However, his health bar goes down. With how it started, can it be finished?
Yeah, Shelly's actually doing some work here as Arrow's going to fly. Good flash there from Pawn, gets himself out of the way. He saw DAMWON wanted that one to register. Okay, Rascal, perfect execution does come in as Tucson's burning to death. Does have to use his stopwatch, but will keep himself alive. That's the dunk from Cuz as he gets rid of the Lee Sin. Is now Deft looking for his way in. Soul Shackles is going to be utilized now once the stun onto Showmaker. Oh no! Tucson's not going to get it, but still, they're going to pick up these kills. Nuclear now going to be very, very strong, and Pawn not going to be able to fight him. Double kill for the Ashe.
Ends up being pretty even overall there. Really big fight. You saw that if Pyke had a full health bar and could have got that first reset, things would definitely have come down. Overall, though, Nuclear does pick up the 2 kills on the exit of the fight. Ends up being an action-packed one, and when you have bot lane carries with utility, this is what can happen.
Yeah, and the utility wasn't actually utilized too much. Both of these bot laners do manage to get those teleports working, and Tucson has to stopwatch here, so couldn't keep himself alive later on.
Even though there's no wards from DWG Gaming in that area, you don't get the passive because Ignite stops there from being out of combat. So yes, Pyke had to use it, missed on the ult, still able to clean up some of the kills. You can see overall, it ends up being, I believe, 4 for 3.
Yeah, in favor of Kingzone. Shelly did actually go down in favor of DAMWON though, so that's good news. She's going to be able to pick up a bunch of turret plates up there on the top side of the map and finishes off this outer top lane turret.
Gold lead from the top is still being converted. It's once again Nogari doing well in a matchup like we mentioned that is good for him. Looking over the damage numbers here, Ryze able to stand in the middle of the fight. Morgana able to stand in the middle of the fight. Just the nature of the champions, allowing them to be a bit more flexible and fight early. Nogari, no completed Dirk item this game because of the Hex Drinker bridge being required.
Yeah, I think Yomo's is going to be complete relatively soon unless he goes Duskblade instead. Have to see where he decides to go with. Most likely the Yomos will be coming in. Pawn happily clearing out minion waves. In the mid lane, he's now 2-0 and 3. 100% kill contribution. The Ryze is going to be online very early in this game.
Not right now, though. Obviously, this has a lot of pieces towards the Seraphs and getting things going, and one-item power spike on the block needs to be feared. Timings were so critical in game number 1. Felt like Kingzone hit them early. Timings here are quite blurred because the Morgana exists. It shouldn't mean that Kingzone really want to ride out the mid-game and just close it before not having an AD carry ends up being the central factor. But now at least that is an irrelevant point. Ashe has a Play the Ruined King and a Dream. But we get late enough. The fact that you don't have attack speed, crit, AD, all those things that come together to make a ranged AD carry the MVP in the late game. Again, a back-ended point for Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, we'll see whether Tucson can actually use that gold delivery system with the death from below as these fights move on. As Nogari's found Rascal. Ow. Ultimate is going to be available here as Pawn comes up. Rascal's just trying to keep him interested, diving back on forward, but there it is, and just perfect execution coming out from the Akali in the end there. Arrow once again going to get flashed as we pan back towards this Dragon Pit. Ocean is what DAMWON are trying to get, but Deft is still looking for more. These puddles really hurt. This is pre-nerf, remember, as TuSin dives on in, does pick up the Lee Sin, and steals the Dragon on the Pike. Rascal now looking for Showmaker, who's dancing around this one, but the Ashe falls down. The Pike is online, and Kingzone just roll over DAMWON.
Pike just popped off. Atlas got everything on that play, and that means that DAMWON can't find a win anywhere. Baden outsmarted on the top side, and even around the team fight, the Pike comes up big.
Absolutely fantastic. Misses the death from below last time around, but he makes up for it in the Dragon fight. Beautiful there from TuSin. He needed to have a performance like this, and once again, Pawn is the benefactor. We'll pick up this outer turret in the mid lane as well, as we see how it all went wrong.
Well, DWG Gaming start walking towards starting the Drake, because like, okay, we're getting ganked up top side. Nogari just didn't think about the fact that he would get roam ganked on there, so playing for lane can really punish them, and DWG feel pressure. They have to make this play happen. But watch TuSin. They know he's around. Predator's that ultimate confirmation. Waits for his kill, even gets the Drake with a cheeky auto.
Yeah.
Sometimes it all comes together. Doesn't get the full resets, but man, Pike versus Tom Kench has always been a matchup because he doesn't care about gray health. It's all about your health total, not effective health.
Yeah, exactly. Able to get all those resets. Pushing mid, things like that, a lot of nice ooze, and it's some pretty good play from Kingzone in this mid-game fight. I feel like Kingzone have always been, they've been good at creative drafts, but not necessarily at always executing them perfectly. But recently, I think that's been a large portion of what's changed for this team. Understanding when they're strong, when they need to fight, and what they need to do.
But I love the fact that they've taken away preconceived notions of, well, Deft has to be on an 80 carry, because otherwise how are they going to win? He's their hard carry. That is such lazy analysis now. In the first round robin, that's how it felt. They started 0-4. Deft was their only player really performing. But with everyone else stepping up, I feel like the coaches have become quietly the most creative, and you could argue most adaptive to new patches and new strategies of any team. No one else is doing bot lane mages, and Kingzone are doing it with a consensus top 280 carry in the league. It's Ruler and Deft as the really big carries. Of course, apologies to Teddy there as well. But when it comes to the big carries, Kingzone are showing flexibility around their best player on paper, because as a 5, it gives them leads that other teams can't find.
Yeah, and also they're able to transition that carry role into Pawn far more easily at this stage of the season, and Rascal has been stepping up. Somehow he's 1-0-3 in a matchup against Nogari.
And now we have TuSin is probably the guy who gets the most out of Morgana being the bot lane carry. TuSin on a very long leash to be a carry, and look, not all of those ults are hitting, but the involvement in the game can't be denied, so it's really coming together. This is the optimistic fans' dream pre-season from Kingzone, when they got rocked in Kesper Cup, they go down 0-4, and you're like, well, maybe these guys can step up and things can work, and that person told shut up, right? That person right now is the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been able to come together in an awesome way, and right now, DWG Gaming need to actually hit the next mid-game fights going, otherwise they might just get snowballed on by Kingzone.
Well, Deft is going to be able to clear out this ward here. Kingzone going to be able to keep things dark as they move on down towards this bottom side. Showmaker can't actually turn up against Pawn. Spots that Predator above his head and knows that TuSin is lurking around the area. And he is scary. It's what Pike can actually do if he's ahead. It means that if you see that mark around your feet, you get real scared. And TuSin is currently at that stage. 300 gold bounty. 3-1-3 on this Pike here.
No Dirks. No Dirks completed. He's gone cooldown reduction. Come on, mate. You got lethality scaling. I understand why, but we're sad not to see it. It's on the way. Probably going to be for
Duskblade.
Duskblade for the ward clearing, you would imagine. Also, it's the most damage, which is pretty high.
Yeah,
Pawn pushes in bot lane, and while DWG Gaming are not that far behind in gold, consider Gunblade is done. Very hard for Jace to get the pushing with Reckless Abandon he had before. They definitely don't have map control. They have to respect the Pike roaming through, and the fact that they've lost the last couple of skirmishes, so the utility from the Ashe will feel reactive, and they'll more often than not be losing CS and turrets in side lanes. It's very hard to make this game about DWG Gaming's comp, and DWG Gaming have the comp that in more standard drafts, you see Ashe and Tom Kench mid lane roaming around. How can you beat Abyssal Voyage? Damn, isn't this an OP duo? But the Pike rolling through, the adaptations from Kingzone, they've made a draft that so often goes DWG's in terms of the 5 champions. be about Kingzone's champions, and they're marching to Kingzone's beat.
Yeah, and they sort of have to here as well, based on the fact that Deft can stand by himself in the mid lane,
or
and
bot
Nuclear
lane, or top lane.
Yeah, absolutely any lane. But Beryl needs to be with Nuclear to allow him to clear minion waves. So Kingzone are basically playing with an extra man in these side lanes, which is what they're able to create all of this extra tempo with. An extra priority that they're playing with around this map. That means that this Mountain Drake has been started. Deft doesn't find the binding there as Showmaker's now looking for him. He takes a lot of damage. Arrow flies in, has to flash in the end. That's a good kickback as Pawn's in potential trouble. But Rascal teleports in and is going to try and affect this one. Dives on forward, the perfect execution. Canyon, first one to go down. The death from below looking for Nuggery. The second comes in, resets a bound here for the Pike. 5 kills for Tucson, and it looks all too easy.
You just count to 5 every team fight. If you're a Kingzone fan, we get to 2, but that's 2 for 0. They can push through. They got 5 members. What do Kingzone want next?
Yep, they didn't even want the Dragon, Papa Smithy. They just wanted DAMWON to come to them, get that fight going. It looked good at the beginning. Showmaker was performing well. It was all a cunning ruse. And Kingzone are now looking for this Baron. 20 minutes, almost on the dot. And they're teleporting for it.
Nuggery doesn't have TP, so it's always going to be outnumbered. They're looking for the turn, keeping their options open.
Yeah, Rascal's just going to try and 1v2 while they take this one down. They should be able to do it. Showmaker trying to make his way in, but it's down to 1,000 health, and it's taken. Cuz is going to secure it, and the Realm Warp to get them all to safety. This is some real clean Kingzone in game number 2.
And all those goo-goo eyes we had about the cool draft are now just turning into admiration for Kingzone because they're executing on it as well, Atlas. And speaking of executions, they're able to make it entirely about what they have. Notice that Akali is walking through the enemy jungle. They've got vision control in the enemy jungle. Late teleport from a Jace. The moment Jace is TPing to a mid lane fight. The moment that Nuggery is TPing to a mid game fight. You know things aren't going well. Here's the one, and we were just waiting to see. Penta or no for Tucson.
Yep, and Tucson delivering so much money to the rest of his teammates. Remember, if you get those resets, if you get those kills with the death from below, you're basically getting double gold for all of those kills. So Deft, even though he's sitting on 1-1 and 7, he's still going to be a rich man. So Zonya's now completed, has himself a heck of a lot of CDR, and he's going to be able to permanently sit in this mid lane as happy as you like.
Man, really, really hard for DWG Gaming to subvert a 5k gold lead. And the reason for that is, well, Ashe finally has the items where she gets to stand in one spot and hit. And you look at the enemy team and say, you know, they've got some backline threat, but then you notice top lane is Akali. And Akali can just deal with Ashe for so much of the game. It's not quite Olaf versus Ashe, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
It's so hard to free position and auto attack, and that's the thing that DWG has, the Kingzone don't, which is a consistent 80 carry threat. So right now, it feels like that threat is going to be much more backload. The only time that can happen is in chance late game fights. That's not now, but here is a collapse.
Yep, they're now looking for Pawn, but he's taking no damage. The Righteous Glory is in. Canyon has to get the hell out of there as DWG were trying to commit, but they're just not working. That was, speaking of not working, Tucson is eventually going to be able to pick that. No, doesn't actually come through as Pawn. Has to get out of the fight. Cuz goes golden as Deft deals with this turret on the bottom side. Good black shield, but it's not going to be enough to save his life. Stand and deliver from Nuclear. They are able to get one on the board, but it's still going poorly for DWG. Top lane out of turret falls, and the push is still on in mid.
Kingzone's execution, not great, but they're so far ahead that it doesn't matter. They're pushing in top lane with Akali, who couldn't rotate anyway, and still finding map leads. Fourth turret of the game goes down. It was sloppy, but it was good enough.
Yeah, the death from below missing was certainly a problem here. That dark binding was so close there from Deft. Onto Canyon, that would have been him dead because Tucson was in the area. Out of turret falls in the mid lane, and inner turret going to fall topside. Kingzone have taken so much in the way of turrets, and now Rascal gets ignited. Perfect execution gets himself out as now Realm Warp is trying to be utilized in both of them. Just escape to safety. Pawn taking care of his top laner.
Escape plan provided. Pawn on this utility Aftershock Rise, doing everything he needed. We're going to watch the replay of how this all came together. This was actually an interruption from Tucson. That was, of course, lost. Thank you to the observers for pointing that out. That means the 4-man collapse, just a 2v2. Watch how this would have played if 2 other members were there. Could have turned on Cuz and blown him up pretty quickly. Getting through Righteous Glory Aftershock Rise was going to be difficult, even with the dual lane coming in.
Yeah, and also, it was great communication because obviously... Oh, okay, that's a shock blast that stole away a Mountain Drake. Nice work, DWG Gaming, and nice work, Nuggery.
That is not a sarcastic clap. That's actually an enthusiastic clap. Nuggery trying his best. to make things work.
More important that they denied the Mountain Drake rather than took it themselves, because right now they don't have a lot of control, but might work out if they can get things done in the late game.
Kind of have one of those smelly comps that can't really tank the Barons. They have to get picks in order to take the Barons. They can't sneak it for sure.
Yeah.
Very, very squishy on their lineup. Nicely done by Nuguri. Small, good moment. They need more like that. They need to find picks. That's what they have to do. LeBlanc and Ashe can combo for a lot of CC, but Black Shield from an AP Morgana. That Black Shield ain't breaking too fast.
Oh, heck no. And Tucson is so fast. Predator, movie boots, and being able to jump underwater just means that he's zipping around this map. Look at him go. Okay, Canyon not going to get knocked up there from Cuz, but he's pretty tanky. Cinderhulk Jarvan is going to come in here. And in fact, Kingzone, despite their champions, are actually quite a tanky lineup, because Pawn is pretty much a tank, sitting at about 3,000 health. I think Ryle's Crystal Scepter has been built up here by the Rise, as Deft could be in trouble. That's the Distortion avoiding the Dark Binding, as now Pawn just running in on the front line. Okay, Cuz, has he overstepped now? Good binding is going to land, as there's Death from below. Beryl, he should be the next target, but Pawn just kills him before that can even happen. Good kill on the Akali, but it's not enough. 2 kills now for Tucson, and he still wants more. Realm Warp gets Pawn in there, flashes forward, see you later, Showmaker. And that's what we expect out of this man in the mid lane. Kingzone's Pawn is so strong. Just jumps in, gets rid of Showmaker, and now they should even be able to potentially win the game off this push.
And they will, Atlas. I'm consulting the thermometer. Kingzone's too damn hot right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming in with the creative draws. They're making it look easy, and they're putting DAMWON Gaming on the sideline.
And we thought game 1 was fast. That was 27.5 minutes. Now they're winning at 26.5. Nexus is going to go down, and what the heck do you do if you're DAMWON Gaming staring down the barrel of this Kingzone's 3-0?
You sit back and appreciate a team that's just on another level to you today. Kingzone DragonX, they don't need to celebrate. Acorn comes in, and I feel like we're getting the spirit of Acorn as a player.
I think if you're going to give out an MVP, I'm giving it straight over to the coaching staff, because damn, Kingzone have come up with some really cool stuff today, and it only gets better and better. 26.5 minutes for the first round of their playoffs. Kingzone are making even the SKT fans feel a little bit nervous if you're looking on.
And when you only have, 15 minutes till we hit pick and ban for the next game, no one player in DAMWON Gaming can adjust what they do and actually make a appreciable difference to stop another loss like this. That's the issue here. Is it really feels like Kingzone had the 6th man, the 7th man, the crowd on their side, everyone on their side, and DAMWON can't make huge adjustments. There's just no way to. There's not enough time.
Yeah, and also, Kingzone are beating DAMWON Gaming before it's even got to the point in the game when they're supposed to be bad, Papa Smithy. Like, when that's happened, that's not what I was expecting, right? I was expecting games to go in DAMWON's favor in the laning phase, like what we saw a bit of in game number 1, and then Kingzone are just smarter at the end, but it never even got to the end because both of these games have been 27 minutes long.
Yep.
Will it be a game number 3 that will be memorable, or will Kingzone just smash them? Let's find out after the break.